Whew, alrighty, let's go ahead and let's get into it. Yes, I'm excited. Tonight is the night, everybody, my ladies and gentlemen, my kings, queens, princes and princesses, duchesses and duchesses, counts and countesses. Let's go ahead and let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so tonight, Monday, September the 21st, was the premiere of Minority Report, the TV show adaptation of the 2002 film that I had Tom Cruise and a whole bunch of other actors in it. And let's get into it because tonight's episode for the pilot, whew, it really kicked off, and I enjoyed it. I was live tweeting a little bit towards the end. This is a good show. I love the cast. It's well casted, and it's just, whew, it's really a good show. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. So, we start off with a little bit of backstory that takes place in 2040, and it basically was talking about the three children. You have Dash and Kevin. No, not Kevin. I don't know why I want to say Kevin. Excuse me. You have Dash and Arthur, the two fraternal twins, and the older sister Agatha. The two brothers, Dash and Arthur, they are Arthur is older than Dash by 7 minutes. Anyway, it's a little bit of backstory about them and their life before they became the precogs, pretty much a part of the pre-crime program, which basically was it was basically a program where these three children, they were tested and they had like they started having visions of crime and specifically murder that was going to take place. And so the pre-crime district was created in order to stop, these murders from happening. So this is a very futuristic themed show, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love this sci-fi mystery thriller cop drama action. It's really good. So yeah, pretty much in the year we then are we fast forward about 25. Yeah, let me see. I'm trying to do the math, y'all. We fast forward, I want to say, about 25 years into the present, which is the year 2065, and we are in Washington D.C. Well, a little bit of the outskirts at first. We meet Dash, who is one of the precogs, and he is at a bar, and he was like, he warned a waitress that she was gonna need a mop because she was gonna like accidentally spill the glass over, and it was gonna spill out and break. And then all of a sudden he starts having visions about a murder. So when he has the visions, he immediately exits the city. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm all over the place. He immediately exits the bar and heads out to the train. Now, when he's in the train station, he puts his head over his face and he waits for the security guard to turn to look away because he doesn't have a card or any type of identification supposed to get through to the train. So he went through, and of course the alarm had went off on the screen, but it was too late. Dash was already downstairs about to catch the train. So he caught the train, and then he goes, he takes the train to the city. Now, when he's in the city, he is in, I believe, downtown, I want to say. And he sees the bus, which is because he keeps having the visions. So he sees a bus, like a double-decker tour bus, and he sees that the body falls onto the thing. So he gets up and he gets up and runs into the building that he first believes is the actual building. But when he goes into the room, he sees a bunch of, I want to say they were blind elders taking a yoga class or something like that. And then he looks out the window and sees that the bus was actually making a turn and it stops in front of another building. And he runs to the building, and all of a sudden you hear like a ticking. So I guess he had like a clock, a timer, if you will, almost like he was timing himself as he was running to the other building. But he got to the building too late, and instead of he stopped at the front of the building. Well, he stopped, in front of the bus, and that was in front of the building. He turned around and he just, sort of like closed his eyes in a sense. Well, no, he didn't close his eyes, but the way he turned around, it was like, in one of those. It's like when a person is about to die and the protagonist can't save them, they just turn around and close their eyes, and it's just like, damn, just got to let it happen. So the murder ended up happening, and a woman was pushed through a window, who we later found out was a nurse. She was pushed through a window and slammed right onto the bus and died, unfortunately. Then next we meet Laura Vega, who is played by the beautiful and very talented Megan Good. And Laura is investigating the same murder, and her along with the technician who is in her district. The technician's name is Akila. They are pretty much going through they're using technology to pretty much repeat the crime and see like, okay, what happened, this and that. And during the investigation, they find the nurse's daughter who was hiding under the counter at the time. So they take her, and I guess they put her into like adoption, or they, take care of her. They try to find next of kin or something like that. So, they really didn't touch on that too much, but I'm pretty sure they took care of the little girl and just, put her with family, somebody. They put her with somebody. So there's that. But pretty much, yeah. So they found like a loophole that actually the nurse was trying to protect her daughter when she had got pushed out of the window. So that was a little bit of a loophole in the case, because they found out, oh, like, she wasn't having a fight with somebody. Well, she was, but she was having a fight with somebody to protect her daughter, who I guess the killer was trying to, the killer or whoever was trying, the murderer who was trying to kill. So, they found that out. Pretty much, Akila had mentioned, like, oh man, what if we had, like, somebody to predict this crime and we could have stopped it? Basically, basically a good little nod to the pre-crime program, which had been outlawed. And if, for those of y'all who've seen Minority Report, in the end, the movie, I'm not the movie. In the end, the pre-crime district, the program was outlawed. It was pretty much banned. It was taken away. The 3 kids were taken to this like distant location on this island, and they began living a normal, teenage life. And they pretty much, grew up, and, we'll get to that a little bit later. But, they pretty much had a happy ending. And I hope y'all can hear me because my voice is a little hoarse. I was on a conference call with my fellow members of YouTube NOIR. Hey, everybody. So I hope that y'all can hear me. Please give me a minute. Okay. Anyway, so Dash ends up following Laura, and he is following her into a museum, where in the museum they have like a segment where they were talking about the pre-crime thing. There was a bunch of kids surrounding the person working at the museum who was talking about the pre-crime district, the program, and everything, blah 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 blah. So Dash is following Laura, and then they, we see them in the staircase, and she pretty much corners him and, puts him up against the wall, and it's like, why are you following me? Da 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 da. Mind you, he used some piece of technology to like slug his face and make it look all old and blah 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 blah. All. Anyway, sorry about that distraction. Anyway, what else happened? Oh, I'm sorry. Damn it. Having a little bit of breakage. Anyway, yeah, so she catches him, and then she takes his notebook, and she sees like pictures of the murder that she was just ironically solving. So she wonders, like, what the hell is going on? Like, how is it that you have these notes? What, like, are you the murderer? Are you the suspect? She's just wondering what the hell is going on. He pushes her down the staircase, and he like puts something on one of her legs, and he said it was only temporary, I guess, like paralyzed her temporarily, because like it wore off so she could, walk again and move around. But she had his notebook and notes and stuff like that. And yeah, girl, I know damn well, oh my god, please excuse the crying. My niece got in trouble, and now she's trying to cry her way out of it, so please excuse that if y'all heard that. Anyway, yeah, he had pushed her and he had escaped. So later we see Laura is talking to her partner, Will Blake, who was played by Willimer Vladimira. I hope I pronounced his last name right. He was on the That's 70 show. I forgot what character he played, but he was like the foreign exchange student guy. I'm sure y'all know. He's the guy who was the host of the TV show Yo Mama, the old show that was on MTV. Anyway, yeah, so she is talking to Will Blake and Akila at the station, and they're talking about the case and everything. And they manage to find a breakthrough, and they find the perp. And when they go to find him, they're at this like warehouse, steel mill, or whatever, construction site. And they corner him, and before they can arrest him, a big steel eye rebar just pretty much falls and crushes him. He's dead. So he practically committed suicide in a sense. So it was it is what it is. So they think that they've closed the case, but really they haven't. This is only the beginning. Let's keep it moving though. So Laura meets with Dash in a diner, and pretty much they're talking or whatever about the notebook, the visions, and everything. And he pretty much starts to have more visions. This time about another murder, which I will get to a little bit further. Another murder that is going to take place. And pretty much he later explained to her, because they had left shortly after he had, stopped having this like seizures and visions. They had left before anybody noticed that he's a precog, because technically they are not supposed to, like, I don't believe they're supposed to be interacting with law enforcement or anybody, especially with them having these visions. I don't believe they're supposed to, talk to anybody. So it's kind of like they themselves, in a sense, are almost outlaws in a sense. Like, it's very, very interesting and very difficult to explain, but I'm sure you'll understand. Anyway, so yeah, he pretty much explained to her how Arthur, the older brother by 7 minutes, he basically broke down how the visions work. Dash, he has the visions. Arthur, he knows the names. They have and the sister Agatha, I'm trying to see, because she sees the visions too, but I think because she's the one who acts them out. She's the one who acts them out. And then you have Arthur, who has the names, location, address. He knows all the specific, the more detailed oriented information. And then you have Dash, who sees the visions. So, their powers work in various different ways. But yeah, as I said earlier, like, pretty much, for those of y'all who've seen the movie Minority Report, the kids, they were put in this distant island location, secluded place, and they grew up, as normal kids, teenagers and stuff like that. And shortly after, they were then separated. So, all the three of them were, all of a sudden just all separated. So, you have Agatha, who lives out in like a country house somewhere in Washington, and then Arthur, who lives in the city, and, he does his business, which I will get to in a little bit. And then you have Dash, who, is just pretty much out on his own, and now he's in cahoots with Laura, the detective. So, oh, damn. Damn it. Whew. Anyway, what else happened? Yeah, so yeah, Laura then tells Dash that she wants the two of them to join forces because they can really, help to stop these crimes from happening. They just have to keep it under wraps because, again, the precogs are not supposed to be in contact with they're not supposed to be in contact with the law enforcement. It's pretty much outlawed. It's damn near illegal, practically. So, Laura and Dash then meet with an elected official and his wife to basically, because his wife was the one who Dash was having the visions about being murdered. So they pretty much meet up with them, and they're just talking to, they talk to them, and they talk to the head of his security group or whatever. So they end up finding a picture of the man who they believe is supposed to commit the crime. Ironically, the man who was supposed to commit the crime is dead. So then this takes them to the asylum where all the pre-crime criminals have been locked up. They meet a young woman who I believe is the head nurse, and her father was actually a pre-crime criminal who was locked up in the chambers with everybody else. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, where they had you like locked up in this case, and they had like a headband on you, and all the cases would go into the ground. So you were pretty much, your memory was wiped and erased, and pretty much, when they set those people free, their brains have been fried so much from what was going on with the headband that they could not function properly anymore. Hence why they are all locked up in an asylum. So, pretty much, they meet her father, who was and is still locked up. And, Dash, he doesn't recognize his face because Laura was thinking, oh, so we found our, criminal, because as they were surfing through his bed, they had found some stuff that had linked them to, oh, thank you. Hey, thank y'all so much. They had found his bed. They had found some stuff, in his bed that was like very suspicious and very suspect. So they then go up to the rooftop and find the head nurse's father, who is like, he has this device on his arm, basically like, he's controlling the pigeons, these type of pigeons that are extinct. They went extinct a long time ago, but he managed to revive and resurrect a couple of them, and he's like controlling them and just like sort of like bird watching / I don't know, something, you know what I'm saying? I don't really know. But yeah, so he doesn't recognize his face. But pretty much Laura then thinks that, oh, you know what? I think that he is the murderer because of, how he wants to get revenge on he wants to get revenge on this elected official who was a former cop. And basically, she put two and two together about how, like, the way that he's able to control the birds, as the daughter was explaining, was that there's like a little piece of technology in the back of the birds' heads. And so, hold on. Whew. Excuse me. There's like a little piece of technology that he uses that's connected to the glove in the back of the pigeon's heads, and that's how he can control them or whatever. So she kind of put two and two together, and it's like, so you're doing this, you created all this, and you're just, you're probably upset because the officer who's the elected official is the one who had put him away a long time ago. So she's like, oh, you're jealous and you want revenge, and da 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 da. And because the father freaked out, and to be honest, this was a red flag when he freaked out, because then, as Dash was slowly mumbling under his breath, oh, speaking of Dash mumbling under his breath, he had the balls to tell the elected official that, he had the balls to tell him that, oh yeah, you're going to lose by a landslide. And then when Laura had asked him, wait, was that for real? He was like, nah, basically, he just wanted to say that shit because the elected official was like, when they were walking and talking, he basically called the precogs, he called them freaks. And Dash took offense to that. So that's why he told him that slick shit about, oh, you're going to lose by a landslide. But he really didn't see that happening. He just wanted to fuck with him. So, speaking of, but anyway, Dash was mumbling under his breath that you need to catch him. You need to arrest him. He was mumbling under, child, what the hell is this? Anyway, I don't know, child, commercials on, whatever. Anyway, he was mumbling under his breath that you need to arrest him. So this sent the father off, and he fled the scene. And then, of course, Laura is after him, and then she almost fell to her death. And I'm on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God, please don't let her die. Like, she's the star of the show. How you gonna let her die? And she's a black person too. Come on now. Anyway, and the elected official in the show is black too, and he had an Asian wife. I think she was Asian or Hispanic. I think. But anyway, so yeah, but Dash had caught her just in time, so she did not die. Whew, thank God. Anyway, so later we have Dash and Laura at her house, and she is on a call with Akila again. Dash is in the other room flipping through Laura's like childhood pictures, and Laura is talking to Akila about the case and how she's still looking, and how she has a like CI. She has an insider person helping her, because again, she cannot tell anybody that she is working with a precog, or else they are in trouble. So then we meet Laura's mother and her younger brother, and it's funny because her mom was mentioning to her about how she was like, back in my day, we used this thing called Tinder, because her little brother, Laura's little brother, thought that Dash was her boyfriend, but he's not. But anyway, it was funny how her mom was like, a long time ago we had this thing called Tinder, and that's how I met your father, and da 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 da. And after that, shortly after that, we find out that her father had died, and he was a former cop, and he had died a while on duty, from what I believe. And I think that her father being a cop, and I believe he was a cop back during the pre-crime thing, that's what made her want to become a cop, and she wanted to work for the pre-crime district before the program got shut down. So they pretty much, it's like a lot of nods to the movie, you know what I'm saying? So again, if you watch the movie, then you understand the show. And even if you haven't watched the movie, which I do recommend in order to keep up with what's going on with the show, then it's like you'll understand it better. Also, a little unknown fact that Fox had to acquire the rights to the film in order to do the show. So shouts out to them for getting the rights. Anyway, Dash and Laura, they talk a little bit more about the precogs and their past. And he basically, Dash was saying how he regrets failing to help other past victims that he was having visions of, because every time that he tried to help them save their life, it was too late. They were dead. So it's sad, but he tried to help them, and it was too late. So they then go to seek out the help from Wally, who is also from the movie, and Wally is the caretaker. And so he has files, footage, all types of devices in his house. He's and he's like a bit of a conspiracy theorist. That's the type of vibe I get from him, because the minute that they were at his door, he was like, come on in quickly, because the streets have eyes, the streets is watching, da 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 da. So he quickly closed the door, and then they were talking, and then he sits Dash down in a chair, and he pulls out this like man-made helmet device. It's similar to the one that the precogs were using in the pre-crime district. So he puts that on his head, and then they see the visions. And at first, Laura is concerned for Dash because she believes that he's about to overdose and die. But it's like, because like a lot of people, because like when Wally was talking, he was like, oh, they always used, he was like, they always used to say that Dash was the weakest, and I never believed them, and da like just rambling off at the mouth. But Dash he's not as weak as people perceived him to be. But anyway, the helmet was on, and they hooked it up, and they saw the vision of the murder of the elected official's wife, who because he's running for a voting campaign, and the vision expanded, and they found out that it wasn't only his wife that was killed in this assassination, it was multiple people. So this isn't just a one person killing. This is a killing spree, if you will. So they review the visions, and then Dash, he finally says, I'm so sorry, y'all. Oh hell. Oh hell no, I know they is not drag racing again. Hold on, y'all. Ooh, bitch, they is out there drag racing. Holy shit. Anyway, I'm gonna let them do them. So yeah, Dash finally says that, it is time for us to go find Arthur, because he can give us the names and locations and all the more detailed information that we need. So they go find Arthur, and they meet him, and he's a bit of a cocky guy. Like, he's a businessman, and basically, like, and then this is allegedly because like Laura was basically asking him like, oh, so what is it that you do with this information? Like, cause she brings up something about him selling it on the black market. This is all alleged, so I don't know if he really does that, but if he does, he better watch his back. That's all I'm gonna say. So she pretty much pulls his card in a sense, cause the cockiness that was coming from him, it was just like, come on now, cut the shit. Anyway, they get the info that they need, and they right away they leave. Next, we see them at an abandoned building, and they find the nurse, and they find the nurse's father, and then who already sent out the birds to go do the killing, but they then also find out that his daughter is in on the case, in on the murder. So it's kind of like a, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like a, oh shit, like, man, it's like, oh shit, like, that was a twist that I was not expecting. Like, holy crap, you know what I'm saying, y'all? Anyway, so of course the daughter threatens Laura because she points the gun at Dash, and she tells Laura to drop her gun. Laura drops her gun, but then she does a flip and a stop, drop, and roll, and then the daughter tries to shoot Laura. Laura picks up her gun, boom, she shoots her. And the type of guns that they have, it's like they don't shoot bullets, but they shoot out like a powerful force that sort of knocks you back. So it's like the gun sends you flying. So it's like it's a very futuristic gun. So anyway, the blast, it had hit the daughter, and she had like hit the wall, and like, damn, finally the wall was like kind of like it was kind of like slanted and pointed in a sense. So the daughter had hit the wall, and she hit it hard too, like right here, back impact, crack. Just you can tell she's dead. So she just whoosh, boom, she's dead. So that's that. What else happened? Yeah, shoots the daughter, and then Dash, he like knocks the father out with a blunt object, because the father grabbed the daughter's gun and was going to shoot Laura, but Dash had stopped him. So they then take the device off of the father's hand, and then they stop the birds and send them off on another direction, and the birds end up returning to the building, and they prevent the murders from happening. So they prevent the murders from happening. And what else happened? Let's see. I'm looking down because I'm reviewing my notes. Oh yeah, so Yeah, so Laura ends up she's in the middle of arresting the father, but all of a sudden Dash has a vision that the father has a knife, under his sleeve, and that he was going to stab Laura in the heart and thus killing her. So he stops the arrest and pushes the guy out of a window, and the guy falls to the first floor, and pretty much falls to his death, and so he saved Laura's life. So then later we have Laura and Will, her partner, and they're talking, and he basically asks her, so I never did find out about that person that insider that you had helping you out, and she pretty much assured him that, what, no, me and you, we solved this case together, and then she walks away with that look on her face because it's like, I got to keep this secret because after Dash had killed the father. After he had killed him, pretty much Laura just told him that he needed to leave because, again, this is illegal and he's not supposed to be here. So next she pretty much walks away, keeping the secret under wraps. Next we have Dash and Laura. They meet in a park, and she thanks him for saving her life, and so they pretty much they end from there. I'm sorry, y'all, with the whining in the background. I apologize. Oh, God. I really apologize. God, will you shut up? Anyway, y'all, like I was saying, next, the final scene, which is very interesting because it's building up to something a little bit bigger. We see Arthur and Agatha. They meet up and they are discussing visions that Agatha has been having, and these visions are that the three of them are going to get taken again. Years after pre-crime has been outlawed, shut down, all that, they have visions that they're going to be taken back and basically used to, their powers are going to be used and abused yet again. So, yeah. And then basically Agatha was saying that, it's going to be Laura who is using their brother Dash, who ends up getting the three of them, locked up. I mean, not locked up, taken away. So more is in store for Minority Report, and I'm going to be all here for it. So I hope you guys are checking it out. Please support this show. You know how I feel about us supporting our, brothers and sisters who are on TV and in the movies. I understand it's impossible to support every single show, but support the ones that you can. And, whew. That is that for Minority Report Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot. And now that I got this video done, I will do my... Then again, I may hold off on that because my voice is a little bit hoarse. Because I was going to do my Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, but y'all might have to get that tomorrow because my voice is damn near about to leave me. So I will see you guys later. I'm about to go ahead and put this video up. I apologize for the background noises. My niece is getting into all sorts of trouble. Please forgive me, you guys. So sorry. And I will see you guys later. Peace, love, and happiness.